Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome to the channel. Welcome back to another brand new Total Extreme Wrestling video. It's the go home week for the Royal Rumble. That's right, this Sunday the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, a special kind of video. That's what I'm hoping to do, where I break down spot by spot, elimination by elimination, entrant by entrant, the women's and the men's Royal Rumble matches. Make sure you do not miss that, but let's prepare for it the right way. Let's prepare for it with Raw, main event, NXT, NXT UK, and Smackdown, and a pretty big heel turn. Let's get on it. Monday Night Raw first. Okay, Monday Night Raw this week kicks off with a United States Championship Open Challenge. Drew McIntyre comes out and he says, look, everyone all week has been talking to me about Keith Lee and that spirit bomb. Well, guess what? I don't want to talk about Keith Lee. I want to talk about the United States Championship, and I want to talk about people fighting for this championship. So he puts the championship on the line against the next person to come out of that locker room, and the next person who takes that opportunity, yeah, well, it's a strum of the guitar. It's Elias. 69 for the opening is okay, but if you remember, Elias is in it. The match itself, though, Drew should carry him. Drew versus Elias for the United States Championship. Your winner, and still United States Champion, Drew McIntyre. We don't need to give the big build-up. Drew was always beating Elias here. Great match, though. 76. Whew. Drew McIntyre, in-ring performance of 81. Elias 59. The US title was off on the line. Elias off his game, but it didn't matter because it's all about Drew here. Clean win. Bish, bash, bosh. Drew McIntyre wins. Simple. Post-match, though, not quite as simple for Drew McIntyre. He is attacked by the Hurt Business. Bobby Lashley and Damian Priest lay out the United States Champion again. Last week, Damian Priest, remember, pinned the United States Champion. This week, him and Bobby Lashley lay them out. But why? We'll get to it later. 73. Pretty good. AJ Styles got a promo on Sammy Guevara for 72. Styles and Guevara are part of the main event tonight. AJ says he is fed up of hearing talk that Sammy Guevara has any chance at the Royal Rumble, because he does not. Andrade was lucky enough to walk away with the championship at TLC. He will not be lucky enough at the Royal Rumble. But Sammy Guevara does not. He's not in the same breath of AJ Styles, and Sammy Guevara is not a main event talent. 72. We're really going to start hyping up this story that Guevara is a underdog going into this. Charlotte Flair, the Raw Women's Champion, defeated Ruby Riott for 72. Pretty good. 75 from Charlotte Flair, 41 for Ruby Riott. A good win for the Raw Women's Champion. Yeah. It is what it is, really. Charlotte Flair, I had a bit of time to kill. Let's get the Raw Women's Champion out there in a decent match for a win. Fine. Next week, then, we can announce it. They haven't been able to touch until the Royal Rumble, at least. Well, next week, they will get their match. It doesn't matter what happens at the Rumble. Next week, we'll see it. Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler. Becky will finally get a hand on the woman who attacked her. Yes, I use those. Right. That's next week. But tonight, we're doing Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan. So Zayn got a promo on Bryan, talking about how Bryan, you know what, there's always been a lot of comparisons between Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan. But one thing that Daniel Bryan has never, ever done is be as good as Sami Zayn. 71. We did a Miz TV segment for 81. This is very, very good, mainly due to the fact that the Miz is a master on that microphone. So the whole idea of this is Miz TV with Sammy Guevara. And Miz continues on the same thread that AJ Styles has been talking about, how Sammy Guevara, he's not ready for this opportunity. He will probably never be ready for this opportunity, because let's be honest, he's probably just a bit of a curtain jerker. But he's got this opportunity. How is he going to get through this? And Miz really undermines Sammy Guevara all the way through. It obviously leads to an argument between Guevara and the Miz, but that actually leads to Tommaso Ciampa coming out, cutting a promo on the Miz, talking about how all he is jealous because once upon a time he was WWE champion. However, right now where do you fit in, Miz? And that leads to Ciampa. Well, Ciampa challenging the Miz for right now. Ciampa and the Miz next should be very good. 81 though, good segment. And the match itself then is very good, and a 79 and a win. A win, I repeat. A win for Tommaso Ciampa. He defeats the Miz in about 16 minutes. The pinfall following botched interference from John Morrison. So you could really play an old school angle here of the Miz holding up Tommaso Ciampa for Morrison to do, I don't know, a spin kick or something like that. And it actually leads to Ciampa ducking. Morrison takes out his partner. Ciampa gets the win. That's fine. 79. This is going to lead now over the next few weeks to maybe a feud between these two, because you can imagine the Miz is not very happy at losing out to Tommaso Ciampa. Bayley cut a backstage promo for 58 talking about how last week, you know what, it didn't go away, but when at the Royal Rumble it will go away, because she's the longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion of all time. And at the Royal Rumble, she will be the longest reigning competitor. She will stand tall, and at WrestleMania, she will become the start of the longest reigning Raw Women's Champion. Fine, Bayley's in action next. Before we do that, we have a Miz promo on Tommaso Ciampa talking about how Ciampa got lucky, and the Miz will never be embarrassed like that again. Bayley was in action against Liv Morgan though for 66, so this is pretty good for Bayley. Gets her a win back. 64 from her, 48 from Liv Morgan. Yeah, solid stuff, no problem. That's what you want to use your TV for, because it's going to boost Bayley and boost Liv Morgan being in there with her. Solid TV stuff for the women's division, pretty good. Andrade got a promo on Sammy Guevara talking about how while he may not be taking Sammy Guevara so easily as AJ Styles is, Sammy Guevara still does not stand a chance against Andrade. 69 is okay. He can do better though. Okay, let's talk about it. We are bringing them back. I'm not sure I've brought them back correctly. We'll have to go through that. So this is what happens. The New Day make their entrance. The New Day come out to ringside, and they are ready for their opponents when the lights go out in the arena, and on the screen comes a video with a cheesy voiceover talking about the following tag team are returning to Monday Night Raw. They're the greatest tag team to ever grace Monday Night Raw. They are a shining star of wrestling. They are the pride of Puerto Rico. I mean, he doesn't actually go into that, because what we really want to do is tell this story that we're hyping up. Whoa, who's returning here? Who could it be? It could be anyone. Think of all the legendary tag teams that are not part of Raw right now that could return. And then, yeah, the Colognes walk out. Epico and Primo are back, ladies and gentlemen. We bring them back as in-jobber roles because we could do with it. So, yeah, they're up against the New Day next for a 69. It's only about 8 minutes, and this isn't bad. Epico and Primo are off the game. Kofi tried to carry it, but it didn't hit that next level. But that's fine, because it's you know, it's the Shining Stars. And, yeah, they're not really that cool, are they? So that's fine. 69. Right then, Daniel Bryan was in action next against Sami Zayn for 81. I thought there was something in between. Guess not, so we're going through to it. And Bryan beats Zayn in about 19 minutes. Makes Sami Zayn tap out. 82 from Daniel Bryan. Sami Zayn 67. And now we start telling this story with Bryan, that since moving to Monday Night Raw, Daniel Bryan has won every match. Will that continue at the Royal Rumble? Well, I guess we'll have to find out. Really good match, though. 81. Really good match. Bryan got a backstage promo, asked about his winning streak, and he says, you know what? Momentum is everything in professional wrestling, and I'm getting momentum at just the right time. 74. Interesting. Right, Keith Lee got a promo on Drew McIntyre for 70. He's asked about laying him out with a spirit bomb, and Keith Lee says it's really quite simple. Last week, Drew McIntyre was coming at me with a lot of slander. And whether you're my friend or not, if you talk about me in that way, you will get laid out. That's it. And don't even bother asking me about the attack on him earlier tonight. I don't want to hear it. 70. Keith Lee was in action next against Rezar from AOP. Short match, only 4 minutes, so 67. Keith Lee 69. Rezar 58. But as you can see, Keith Lee wins following interference from Damian Priest. Now, Keith Lee is not expecting the interference, you could say, but he just sort of watches curiously as Priest lays out Rezar and takes advantage to get the pin. And, yeah, what's going on here then? We went to a backstage segment, a sit-down interview, you could say, with the man, Becky Lynch, being asked about the Royal Rumble this Sunday, being asked about Shayna Baszler next week. But before she can really answer, the interview is kicked out because in comes Shayna Baszler. Now, I think they did this in real life, so we're sort of playing on that, maybe doing it a bit different. Shayna Baszler tries to take control of the interview. Now, of course, remember, Shayna Baszler and Becky Lynch cannot touch. They cannot fight. And if that happens, they both lose their matches at the Rumble. So Shayna knows this, so she's winding Becky up with all the questions, asking her about how it felt to tap out to Shayna Baszler at SummerSlam. Becky's obviously getting mad, but she hides it well because she just smiles and she continues to smile, and that starts winding up Shayna Baszler. And Shayna gets frustrated, says, "Why aren't you getting mad? Why are you smiling?" And Becky says, "Because did you not think I saw this coming? Did you not think I knew you would do this? Did you not think we knew you would do this?" And the lights that were dimmed for the interview, they come on in the room. You hear a door locked and the camera pans to see Charlotte Flair with a steel chair, and I'm not rhyming anymore, but Charlotte Flair lays out Shayna Baszler with a steel chair. Becky Lynch just watches on, and an 87 rated segment. It's done pretty well. It's done pretty well. We did a 6-man tag with Aleister Black, Apollo, and Cedric getting a victory over Jinder Mahal and Austin Theory and Angel Garza. Aleister Black pinning Jinder Mahal with the Black Mass kick. 54 for Apollo, 55 for Cedric. Aleister the best with an 82. Theory and Garza though pretty good with a 63, 78. Another good match tonight. We've done a lot of good matches so far. Aleister Black got a promo talking about how last few weeks things haven't gone his way, and while the United States Championship is still in his sights, he might just start setting his sights higher. And at the Royal Rumble, Aleister Black, well, we'll see, shall we? 68. Main event time then for an 80 rated match. Pretty good, you would say. An 83 from Andrade, AJ 80, Ray 62, and Sammy Guevara 62, which is a little bit disappointing, but they carried him and it was pretty good. And the heels get the win here. Now let's talk through the finish. It's Rey Mysterio taking the pin, hence why he was in the match. So Sammy Guevara is protected. You can say Guevara was taken out on the outside by a bit of heel cheating or something like that. And it looks as though AJ Styles has got this in the bag. He looks like he's going to get the win when Andrade tags himself in, pins Rey Mysterio with a split-legged corkscrew senton. That really doesn't matter because it's all about the fact that Andrade tagged himself in, took advantage to get the win. And it leads to a post-match brawl because Andrade and AJ Styles start arguing between themselves. They start brawling up the ramp. But what they don't see is one man climbing up the Titantron. What they don't see is Sammy Guevara, well, doing something that no one expected him to do. And the commentators really play this up like, Sammy, no, what the hell is Sammy Guevara? Sammy Guevara looking to prove himself, but he may just be going a step too far. And he may have done that because Sammy Guevara dives off the Tron, Jeff Hardy or Kofi Kingston style, on AJ Styles and Andrade, and proving in his mind that he deserves to be in this picture. That gets us to 72. Pretty good considering Sammy Guevara's in it. He took a stump bump as well. And all three men are laid out to end the show, receiving medical treatment. That triple threat. Sammy Guevara, the underdog, sure, but damn, he's made a statement tonight. And that's our show then. That gives us an 81 rated Raw. Again, I'll say this every week. Solidly good. In fact, pretty good. Probably underrated at times. You had a great Bryan and Zayn match. You had a really good main event. Good 6-man tag. Some good segments with Becky and Charlotte there. I believe Ciampa and Miz was really good with a 70. Yeah, it was 79, so it was very good. And Drew and Elias was pretty good at the start of the show. Good stuff. Main event this week kicks off with an on the way to the ring promo from the EST of WWE. She may be on the way to the WrestleMania, main event, I guess, in real life, but we'll see what she does in the save. But she's up against Ruby Riott in the opening match. 67 for the promo is pretty good. And the match itself gets a 53, which is okay for the Smackdown for the women's division on main event anyway. 52 from Bianca, Ruby Riott, 46, the Kiss of Death, or so it's called, whatever it is. 53, fine. Drew McIntyre got a promo on Damian Priest for 70. Talks about how Priest pinned him in a tag match last week, and on Monday, Damian Priest was part of the Hurt Business laying out Drew McIntyre. And Drew McIntyre says if he wants to come after me, if he wants to come after the United States Championship, I am ready and waiting. We'll see. 70. Randy Orton got a promo on Mustafa Ali for 71, hyping up their match this Friday on Smackdown. Of course, we announced it last week. Ali is back, so the match is happening this Friday. Randy Orton, Mustafa Ali, one-on-one. So this is just a bit of hype for that. Bo Dallas cut a promo on his way to the ring, because why not? 57. Yeah, why not? He hasn't done that great there, Bo. Back to catering after this for you, I'm afraid. Cesaro beat him for 66. Cesaro got a win. That was the main point. 63 from him, 55 from Bo. Yeah, solid. Solid for main event. Pretty good. The Psycho Killers, Daniel Bryan and Tommaso Ciampa, might change their name eventually because I still don't like it. Hype up their match against the Glorious Show Off. That is your main event. It should be very, very good. Garza and Theory also cut a promo for 58, hyping themselves up. And that main event then for Bryan, with teaming up with Ciampa, of course, against Rude and Ziggler. 4 quality wrestlers, gets us 68. Should we wind that back and do it again? What the hell? Daniel Bryan, 81. Tommaso Ciampa, 65. The heels have really let this down. Robert Roode, 53. Dolph Ziggler, 54. I wonder if this is a case of these guys, particularly Roode and Ziggler, show. They can't be bothered. It feels like that. 68. That's disappointing. Gives us a 68 rated main event. Pretty good, but that could have been better. That really could have been better. NXT this week kicks off with a number one contenders tag team match. It's the North versus the War Raiders in a rematch from a few weeks ago, but this time it's all about the tag team titles, and the winner gets a tag team opportunity at NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. And the winner, as you can see, of the North, the winners, Josh Alexander pinned Ivar after using a foreign object, so a nice bit of heel cheating for the North. 57 for Ethan Page, 67 for Josh Alexander, 68 from Ivar, really good performance from him, and a 62 from Eric gives us a 67. Yeah, good stuff, and a heel win, but a cheating to win. We'll pick up on that later. Post-match, Big Beefy Boys stop the North from continuing the beatdown on the War Raiders. They save the War Raiders, but do you really think the War Raiders are going to like that? And they not beat down, but they lay out the Champions 2. So these are 3 teams, and the tag belts are right in the middle of them. I know that's face on face, but just because you're friends doesn't mean you're all just going to get along when these championships are on the line. So yeah, there's a bit of pride here. 60. Cameron Grimes enters the office of William Regal, and William Regal says, "You think you're so clever, don't you? Last week, I put you in a match against Pentagon Jr. And you were meant to wrestle that match, Cameron Grimes, but you didn't. You bought your way out of it. Well, you're not going to buy your way out of anything anymore. You don't mess with my matches. That doesn't happen. So tonight, you're in the main event. Well done. You're in the main event against Adam Cole. But that's not all, because you've got yourself a place at TakeOver. Well done, because you will face Pentagon Jr. at NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. And if you weasel your way out of any of those matches, don't bother coming back to NXT, because you won't have a job. 66. Cameron Grimes, you could even argue, tries to bribe Regal, but yeah, that's not going to work. 66. Bandito is in action against Jake Atlas for 58. This is good match for the Cruiserweight division. Really good stuff. Bandito 60. Jake Atlas 43. That's going to help him. Despite losing, being in the ring with Bandito will help him. And a 12-minute 31 victory with the Revolution Fly for Bandito. Now, top heel in the Cruiserweight division. So, yeah, afterwards, he's talking about last week. He talked about Lince Dorado making himself the seemingly number one contender when he stepped up to Santos Escobar. Well, Bandito says it doesn't work like that. And if anybody deserves the next shot, it's him. 57 for the promo on Lince Dorado. Tegan Knox cut a promo on Dakota Kai backstage. Tegan Nox got a promo on Dakota Kai when she's interrupted by Elias. Elias comes in getting all very, very cocky and saying about how in 2 weeks' time Tegan Nox will not be seen in NXT. Now, at this point, the pressure is starting to get to Tegan Nox, and she just snaps. She slaps Elias. They start to brawl, and it leads to a match being made in the break. 55 for the segment is pretty good. We need to tweak her gimmick. That's a bit of an issue. But Tegan and Elias gets us a 54, which is pretty good. 55 from Tegan, carrying it. Elias 39, 8 minutes. And I booked the wrong winner. Brilliant. That's not going to help the storyline heat. Ah, dear. That's meant to be Tegan Nox defeating Elias. Not Elias defeating Tegan Nox. But you could play into the storyline maybe that Tegan Nox is starting to feel the pressure and she's cracking under it a little bit. And maybe that can play into the... Yeah, I've messed that up. Let's move on. Back to William Regal's office and the North, the next team, or the next boys, being a little bit cautioned by Regal here. Regal is not happy tonight. He's very much not happy, and he has reason not to be later on too. Regal says, "You guys think you're so clever too, don't you? Coming in here, and I gave you an opportunity, and you just couldn't do it correctly, could you? You couldn't do it with pride. You couldn't do it with honor. Well, you know what? I'm an honourable person. I'm a man of my word. And you two will get a tag team championship opportunity at TakeOver Vengeance Day. But so will the Raw War Raiders. That's right, we're doing it. Triple threat at TakeOver. War Raiders versus the North versus the big, beefy boys. 56. Good stuff. Pentagon Jr. was in action against Kona Reeves for 68. This is really good. Pentagon Jr. 75. Got a 68 out of Kona Reeves, who only put in a 35. So that shows you how good Pentagon Jr. is. Probably a little underused still. He's only new in the company, of course, but Pentagon Jr. very, very good stuff. Very good. Afterwards, he cut a promo on Cameron Grimes. We will see that matchup at TakeOver. Pentagon Jr. versus Cameron Grimes. A good promo as well. We went to break. We come back from break to see Cameron Grimes with a wad full of money, and he's entering the Undisputed Era's locker room. Adam Cole versus Cameron Grimes is your main event tonight. What does Cameron Grimes want with the Undisputed Era, and how is that going to affect Adam Cole, who of course is the rival of the Undisputed Era now, for anyone who's confused? Lince Dorado cut a promo on Santos Escobar for 45, talking about how what we saw last week of how Lince Dorado, he may have lost in the Cruiserweight Championship final of the tournament a few weeks ago. And maybe, Santos Escobar was a better man on the day, but he's not the better man overall. And Lince Dorado will get his day, and he will get the Cruiserweight Championship. 45, pretty good for the Cruiserweight division. We did a contract signing NXT style for a 78 rated segment between Johnny Gargano and Pete Dunne, hyping up their match for TakeOver for the North American Championship. And if we haven't revealed it already, I'm revealing it now. That match will be a ladder match. Johnny Gargano, Pete Dunne, ladder match for the North American Championship. They both signed the contract, and in WWE style, Gargano lays out Dunne. Regal's furious, by the way. Regal's just like, what the hell are you doing? But Gargano doesn't care. He finds it very funny and walks away. 78. Yeah, pretty good segment. Okay, I think it's main event time. I think. Let's find out. Not quite. I forgot about these. We did a couple of sit-down interviews, NXT style. We didn't have Riddle and Balor on the show really tonight, so I wanted to do a couple of interviews. Riddle going through what it would mean to him to be NXT champion, going through his history. You can show some of the stuff from the Indies, and you can say he's worked so hard to get to this point, but unless he has that championship, he has nothing to show for it. 73, good promo. Balor himself, 69, so not quite as good a promo, which is a bit of a disappointment. Balor talking about how, Riddle wants this championship to prove that he's the best, but guess what? He's not the best because I'm the best, because I have this championship, and I will always have this championship. Right, main event time then. Main event time. Adam Cole versus Cameron Grimes. Could be pretty good. And it was a 78, a good main event, and your eyes don't deceive you. I haven't messed up the winner this time. Right, Cameron Grimes defeats Adam Cole following interference from Roderick Strong. We're hyping up this Undisputed Era feud That is why Adam Cole's lost tonight. He put an in-ring performance of 83. Cameron Grimes, 59. As I say, 78. Cameron Grimes is going to get a big boost by the win. I feel awkward about Adam Cole losing, but I think in the storyline it makes sense of where we're going next anyway. Roderick Strong cost Adam Cole. Post-match, the Undisputed Era beat down Adam Cole. They beat him down, and as they're leaving, proud of their work, William Regal has the final say. He comes out with a microphone and he says, "What is it with people tonight?" And really, really getting on my nerves. Well, you've also got on my nerves now, Roderick Strong. You think you're so clever. For the third time tonight we hear that. You think you're so clever with what you've just done. Well, how's about this? If he is medically cleared to compete, Adam Cole will get his opportunity against you at TakeOver, as we've already hinted at or maybe announced a few weeks ago. But that's not all, because your Undisputed Era cohort will not be allowed to be part of it, because it is going to be inside a steel cage. That's the stipulation we're doing between Cole and Strong at TakeOver. 71 for the show ending segment gives us a 73 rated NXT. That is very good for NXT. Cameron Grimes and Adam Cole, mainly Adam Cole, has done the business in the main event, but Pentagon Jr. put in a good match. Good angles throughout the show, which is quite good. Nothing else was amazing, but it was still good for what it is. So I am pleased with that. NXT UK this week kicks off with Mayhem. We find Volta arriving at the arena and being informed that a match has been made for NXT UK TakeOver Insurrection, a 15-man battle royal, and the winner will get an NXT UK title shot on the NXT UK following TakeOver. So Volta is, one, furious about the idea of a new contender, two, furious that he has to defend his championship twice in a week. Volta is not happy, and he attacks the nearest competitor to him, the first person he sees, and unfortunately for him, it just so happens to be Drake Maverick. He hits a golden bomb on the on a backstage, like on a box thing, like obviously one of the backstage sets they've got. So yeah, Drake Maverick laid out. Volta's path of rage is going to be a thing tonight. The Ojmo is cutting a promo on Chris Brooks backstage, talking about how these two have had issues over the last few weeks because they are in the same position. They both are fighting tooth and nail for the top spot in the company. Well, the Ojmo guarantees that Chris Brooks does not stand up to him. 45, good promo. First match then is a 6-man tag, and we have a lot of people here involved in that battle royal, 4 of them in fact. We're not putting Eichner and Wolf in the battle royal because it wouldn't make sense to have them want a championship opportunity against Volta, but they're involved in the match here. For a 44, this is pretty good for NXT UK, but could be better. Fabian Eichner has a gimmick that's getting stale. 51 from Dane, the best of the lot, and the faces get the victory. Ilya Dragunov getting the win. So Ilya Dragunov put in a 35, so he is rising slowly, but yeah, pretty good. After the promo earlier, Chris Brooks has had it with the Ojmo, an attack in the parking lot, and he drives him through a windscreen of a car. These two will be going one-on-one at TakeOver. That is confirmed. 54. Kaylee Ray had a match against Sadie Gibbs. This is a rematch from a few weeks ago. Sadie Gibbs wanting to prove herself, but yeah, it doesn't quite happen. Kaylee Ray with the gory bomb and the win after 12 minutes, and the announcers really just hype up that Kaylee Ray will be taking on Julia at TakeOver Insurrection. Post-match, we went backstage. Volta and his path of rage continues. This time, he's attacked Dave Mastiff, one of the biggest men in NXT UK, and you'd argue one of the biggest favourites for the NXT UK Battle Royal at TakeOver. So Volta lays him out backstage. 44. Main event then, and Trent Seven gets a victory over Wolfgang for 54. 58 from Trent Seven, 30 from Wolfgang, who was actually off his game, but a win with a 7 stars lariat from Trent Seven, who gets a win. It's been a while, so it's nice to see him get a win. Post-match, though, Volta's path of rage continues. Volta and Imperium come down to ringside, start beating up Trent Seven, which is when Tyler Bate runs out to try and make the save. But the numbers game, it is too much. And Tyler Bate is forced to watch by Eichner and Wolf as Volta hits the golden bomb on the apron of the ring. And it's a bad night for Trent Seven. It's a hell of a night for Volta. Tyler Bate is forced to watch, then hit with a powerbomb himself. Mustache Mountain laid out. Drake Maverick laid out. And it's just been a very, very good night for Imperium, you could say. But Volta's just furious in general. That gives us 52. Pretty good for NXT UK. Really good, solid stuff. We kick off Smackdown this week with the Smackdown Tag Team Champions. The Usos come out bragging about their victory last week when they're quickly interrupted by Alpha Enigma, that's Chad Gable and Jeff Hardy, who talked their way into a tag team opportunity tonight. Gable and Hardy challenge the Usos. The Usos says fine, but we're making it no disqualification. Obviously, there's more to that. The Usos obviously don't want to defend their titles, but they get talked into it as a point of pride. 75. There's a reason that's going to be your main event tonight. The opening contest, though, didn't do as well as I hoped it would. Only a 69. Mustafa Ali and Randy Orton. Ali beat Orton, which is probably why Randy Orton was off his game. Silly Randy Orton. Silly. 75 from him, 66 from Ali, and the win for Ali comes from a distraction from Ricochet. This is going to help to focus Randy Orton now going into the Rumble on Sunday. Ricochet finds it very, very funny. Randy Orton is very, very embarrassed. 69. Jeff Hardy is backstage and he's at the locker room door of Roman Reigns looking for answers. Well, he can't get in. Paul Heyman says, nope. Absolutely not. Paul Heyman answers the doors, of course. Nope. 73. Sonya Deville defeated Alexa Bliss for 78. Really good match here. 73 from Sonya. Alexa Bliss 59. A good win for Miss Money in the Bank. And it did better than Ali and Orton. Fancy that. Sonya cut a promo afterwards teasing that she may just cash in at the Royal Rumble. 68. We went to the backstage area, the parking lot, to see a truck arrive, and Kevin Owens is here. He missed last week due to the injuries he suffered at the hands of Big E, and he had to watch Otis be made an example of. Well, Kevin Owens is here, and he looks like he's heading to ringside as we head to break for 74. He was heading to ringside, and he calls out Big E as we come back from break. Big E does not answer, but the man who answers, Jackson Riker. He comes out cutting a promo saying about how Kevin Owens thinks he's the big I am, and look at the way he stormed in here, but he's nothing compared to the guns that Jackson Riker has. The you get my point. Jackson Riker and Kevin Owens start to brawl, and the match is confirmed by JBL. I haven't quite put JBL in there, but I was meant to. The match is going to happen right now. Kevin Owens, Jackson Riker gets us a 78. Good match. Kevin Owens 76, Jackson Riker 60. KO gets the win with a pop-up powerbomb and looks good going into the Royal Rumble post-match. Out comes the Universal Champion, Big E, looking for a post-match attack. But Kevin Owens, he saw it coming and hit the stunner on Big E, who falls out of the ring. He's obviously falls towards his feet with the stunner. You can play with that. He falls onto his feet from the outside or onto the outside. And unfortunately for him, mid-stunner, his championship got stuck left in the ring. Big E walking back away from the ring. Kevin Owens looks at the championship, smiles at the championship, and then throws it to Big E as if to say, you keep hold of that for a little while, why don't you? 81, these two go one-on-one for the Universal Championship at the Royal Rumble. We went backstage, we went back to the parking lot where Ricochet is leaving with his Intercontinental Championship, but he is attacked with an RKO out of nowhere. That's right, an RKO from Randy Orton on the hood of a car. We said earlier that embarrassment is going to focus him. Well, how's about that for focusing the Viper. 73, good segment. We did a 6-woman tag for 77. Really good stuff here. Io Shirai and the Iconics defeated Asuka, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair. Io Shirai making Bianca Belair tap out with a cloverleaf, and she looks very good going in to the Royal Rumble. Asuka the best here, no surprise, 75. Io Shirai 67, backing that up. The rest mid-50s. But yeah, solid stuff for the SmackDown Women's Division. Chad Gable is the next to try his luck at knocking on the door of Roman Reigns. We do not get to see Roman Reigns. Instead, we get to see Paul Heyman. He says, no, he's not coming out. He's not coming out yet. Don't worry. 71. What will bring Roman Reigns out, though? Well, I guess we need to find out, because I'm pretty sure we're close to main event. We're not quite. I do know there's another matchup. Seth Rollins and Murphy are in action against Kalisto and Akira Tozawa for an 81. Wow, this SmackDown is picking up steam all of a sudden. Seth Rollins 82 carrying it. 50s for the faces, 62 for Murphy, who's starting to improve. Seth gets the win, and Seth Rollins and Murphy, if they're in the Rumble at the same time together, they may just take some stopping. 81. Okay, Value were backstage, Carmella and Lacey Evans, with an announcement. Last week they both took their picks from the Royal Rumble lottery for their picks for where they're going to be in the match. But instead, we have a change. Carmella will not be part of the matchup. Unfortunately, she is injured. However, her spot has already been filled. Don't worry. That's what they say. But who is filling it? Well, we better keep that a mystery, I think. 68 though, good segment. The main event then. The main event is next. It's for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. It's the Usos versus Chad Gable and Jeff Hardy, and it is no disqualification. That means it's tornado tag. That means we get weapons. And let's talk through the match before we show the result, because just as we get in to the end, just as it looks as though the baby faces are going to get the job done, Jeff Hardy and Chad Gable, you hear dun. That's right, Roman Reigns makes his way out to the ringside with Paul Heyman by his side. Roman Reigns gets into the ring, and everything sort of stopped because the aura that Roman Reigns has, the Usos are watching on, sort of waiting for an instruction perhaps, because that instruction comes. Roman Reigns hits a spear on Gable. He hits a spear on Jeff Hardy. He gets up, he looks at the Usos, and he just points at Gable and Hardy. And the Usos, in stereo fashion, same timing, pin Hardy and Gable. The referee counts the double pin. 1, 2, 3. The Usos retain the titles, and it's the Roman Reigns who has seemingly done the job for them. And this right there, this, a 77 main event, by the way. Let's not push past that. 88 from Jimmy Uso, by the way. Wow, Jeff Hardy off his game, which is a shame. This is the official turn for Roman Reigns. We are turning Roman Reigns heel. He's going to have an alpha male gimmick, which I think probably suits the whole tribal chief thing. We're going to try and do it. He's set to turn after 15 segments. We'll do it. Turn him heel. The gimmick's not that great, but the heel turn was a complete success, and that is how we end SmackDown, with Roman Reigns raising the arms of the Usos, who seemingly seem to be working all together now. I wonder how that's going to play into the Royal Rumble. 77 ends the show with a 78 rated SmackDown. Pretty good. I feel like we've been harshly done by there, actually, because there's a lot to like on the show. It was packed tightly. Ali and Randy Orton probably let us down. If that hits the 80, which I was hoping it to, and the main event's slightly better, it's still very good, though. It's still very good. Well then, the big dog might just have become the tribal chief. Talk about big heel turn right there for Roman Reigns, and it worked. I am so pleased about that, and we go into the Royal Rumble with a whole host of momentum after that. This Sunday should be something pretty big for the series. Of course, this series is running until WrestleMania, so this is going to be a one-off, really. It's going to be a one of a kind. Make sure you don't miss it. Subscribe to the channel so you do not miss a thing. Make sure you hit that follow button. You can even tick the bell if you want. I very rarely say it, but go for it. Tick the bell. Comment down below what you thought of the week, what you think of the Roman Reigns heel turn. WrestleMania is on the horizon. I have an idea of a lot of the matches, but if you've got a better idea, drop it in the comments and we might just make that work. Until next time, peace.